Get ready for a new episode of my Quebec City podcast. I'm Grace and I've lived in Quebec for 3.5 years. And here my buddy.
Hey, I'm Patricia and I've lived here in Quebec for almost 8 years.
So today we'll be sharing our immigration diaries with you. So speaking of which, sometimes we see different cultures and we ask ourselves, why do these people immigrate? So I'm gonna be asking you this question. What are the reasons for your immigration to Quebec?
Well, we, like many other immigrants, we came to this country in search of a better life. And my father was able to secure a steady job here. So my dad chose to bring us here because he felt that this country would provide us with valuable benefits like education, healthcare, and financial security. How about you?
Well, on my side, we were searching for greater opportunities because in my country, whether you study or not, sometimes you don't get a job after your studies. So it's really hard to get a job. Most of opportunities are here abroad. So we found it better to come here and work, not only working but studying, but also working as we build ourselves something, for our kids, because we believe that, my country, we believe that just don't leave out of nowhere, but we also prepare for the future generations where they will also establish themselves. Yeah. So, that's a little bit much of the reasons, but also for security, since in my country, in my home country, we did not really have security and sometimes it was all insecure all over the place and we needed somewhere to feel safe, and Canada was a good place and Quebec in particular, it is
it's a best place to live in.
Yeah.
It's silent.
Exactly.
Private.
Exactly. We came just before winter, we came in fall. It was all silent. It was really beautiful.
So pretty much we both moved here for the same purpose. And immigration has provided people with opportunity to better their life, and we all know that immigration also benefits the country because immigration boosts economic development, it fulfills skill shortage, and it helps build vibrant society. And if you don't mind me asking, where are you from and can you tell me a little bit about your country?
Well, I have quite a long story, but I'm gonna cut it short, okay? So, originally I'm from Congo.
Yeah.
But then I lived in Uganda for 7.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is all different. The weather is different. The food is different. The cultures are different. Because in Uganda we have different tribes, and so all other African countries, which I don't find here. We know there's some people that come from Sydney, there's some people that come from Montreal, from Sherbrooke, they're different, but there's so much similarity, in Africa, completely different. So how about you?
Well, I'm from the Philippines. Philippines is a wonderful country to be at. People are hospitable and culture are way different from what we have here. People there are more family oriented. However, Philippines offers a limited opportunity. That is why we opted to stay here.
Speaking of that, I believe you don't speak French in Philippines, right?
No, not at all.
So how was it? How did you develop? How did you adapt yourself to the new language?
Well, it's hard. When my parents told me that we're moving in Quebec and they told me that I have to learn a new language, French.
How did you feel?
I wasn't happy at all.
No?
Okay. No, I don't want to leave my country. And especially that my parents told me that you need to learn new language. For sure, it will be hard for me to make friends, to socialize. Because I only know Tagalog, my official language, and English. So learning French is the most challenging part of moving here in Quebec.
Yeah.
The first day of school, I cried.
Really?
Yeah, I cried. I never cried at school. But this time I cried. Because I don't understand anything. The only words I understand is bonjour.
Oh God.
For the first year, I cannot communicate with others. I don't have friends. I'm such a loner. But after 3 years of learning French, I start to make friends. When you learn French, you'll find Quebec better
I can relate to that. On my side, I had a hard time. Well, not as a hard time as you experienced, because I started my studies in Congo. Congo, where we speak French as an official language. So going to Uganda, I had to transition to English. And it took me time to learn a new language. I had to learn English, but luckily enough, I was really young. And when I got to know that we're coming to Quebec in Montreal, because Montreal is a bilingual city, and getting to Montreal, they were like, no, you guys, your final destination is Quebec. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to survive with this, Because spending 7.5 years in Uganda, I had lost the basics in French. So going to school, I did not want to do francesation, the class d'accueil. I did not want to do that. So I used to, whenever that they could ask me a question, I used to try to reply in French, though I was not really good at it. I had a hard time, even knowing some basics. I was never comfortable speaking French to other students. Like I was always in my corner, just like you. I never used to raise my hand, even when I had questions. Like it was really hard for me to transition and to adapt. Very, very hard. But, giving it a try and, becoming friends to some Quebecers here, you find it easy to adapt to the language because you already have people to talk to. People can, correct you and help you in some way. But the first few weeks, the first few months, it was really a hard experience.
I feel like reaching across invisible walls, like my body strained from effort when I speak French. My accent, my language, my culture, it's all a subject for tease. So I just don't speak, and then I just become anxious and shyer.
Well, I think they become introverts because of the language. It's not because they do not want to speak. It's not because they don't know how to speak or how to feel comfortable or to adapt themselves to the situation or to the society, but it is because of the language that acts as a barrier. That is why it is one of the barriers of communication. Language barriers is really something that we need to consider.
Communication is the key to survive in this society.
Exactly.
But I almost give up. I always tell my parents that let's move out, let's go to English province. Like I'm tired learning French. But now I realize that learning French and able to speak another language is an advantage.
You learn French for your work, but you also learn French for the people that are gonna come, because I believe Quebec is a conservative society.
Yep.
We want to conserve the language. And the language brings about beauty. So it can make me feel, it makes me feel more comfortable in the society, making me feel that I am accepted and welcome in the society. Well, the second benefit of French, in my own perspective, in my own experience. And the third is basically to teach,
Teach the newcomers.
Exactly. Right? Because they're going to have a hard time learning. But if they communicate to people that, are now a little bit comfortable with the language, it can be easier for them to adapt to the new society.
Yeah, I have newcomers friends from my country. Now I am the translator. It makes me feel good and proud. You can help others, and you can provide that help that you didn't have before. Learning French is an achievement for me.
Speaking of achievements, what do you consider, apart from learning the language, of course, what else do you consider as a success for you right now as an immigrant?
Success, being able to adapt. It's hard. You need to be brave.
I think it is really important for everyone to adapt, because you adapting, it makes you feel different in some kind of way. It makes you feel proud because, you pass through the things that you never thought you could. So talking about that, it is really important that we really spoke about this, because, sometimes the people that are born here, sometimes they don't know the challenges that, some people from outside countries face. It is really important because we not only give information about ourselves, but we also give information of where we come from.
And as immigrants, we have different stories. It can be bad, it can be good, If you want to give one advice to a newcomer, what is it?
Well, I would say, take your time. Take your time because you will need it. The more you take your time, the more you'll give yourself room to learn, the more you'll give yourself not only to learn the language or the society or how to adapt to the society, you learn a lot of things about yourself that you did not know.
Don't stress yourself.
No, don't stress yourself because once you start stressing out, sometimes you may not do things that you thought you could do better.
And just be friendly. Because people here are friendly.
No, not only being friendly, but being open. Being open-minded is really important, not only for immigrants, but for
And
everyone.
don't compare your culture and your culture here.
Exactly.
It's different.
Just because you're adapting to a new society doesn't mean you have to let go of your old society.
Yeah.
Like, you can work on the new society by keeping in mind of where you come from, because that is that is how you know where you are at the moment and where you want to be in the future. Because I believe you cannot think of the future or where to go in the future or know where you want to be at in the future if you don't remember where you come from. So it was really fun to share this.
It's nice to hear your experience different from my experience. So I know the audience have also a different story that can relate. So talking our experiences is an honor for me.
A lot of people want to relate. You know, sometimes you want to ask yourself, is what I'm feeling as an immigrant, is it the same thing as another immigrant is feeling? You know?
Yeah.
So discussing all these, I think some people can relate to what we've said.
So the journey of an immigrant may be challenging, but it is ultimately rewarding. I hope this episode serves as an inspiration to ambitious immigrants and newcomers.
Thank you for taking the time to hear our story. Have a wonderful day.